Alright, g'day guys. Welcome back tonight to another Campaign Cartographer 3 video. Tonight we're going to be just using the tool. I'm not going to do anything special, I'm not going to try to teach you anything specific. I'm just going to open up CC3 Plus and create a very basic, probably very small overland map. Just see how we go. So let's jump over to CC3 Plus and take a look. Alright, so in front of me you can see CC3 Plus. There's my tongue tied getting on top of me. I'm at the load screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, New. Don't need to save changes on this one. I'm going to pick Overland Maps. I'm going to decide the settings for myself. I'm going to pick a style. So, I'm going to use something. What do we got? I want to try to pick something that does come with the standard CC3 Plus, and I do have a lot of different styles in here, not all of which most people will have access to. Alright, let's try something like that. It's just a standard Overland. We're going to look at the Pro Overland. Yeah, we'll go standard Overland. Alright, we're going to pick a size for the map. I'm just going to do 200 by 200. I don't want anything too big. I'm going to click Next. And I'm going to actually make this not an island this time. I'm going to do this as just a sort of standard background. Don't need multiple levels on this, so I'm just going to click Finish. I'm just going to give it a basic name, and there we go. So, in front of me you can see we've got the border, we've got the map background, we're basically ready to start doing some mapping. So, if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I recommend you do. I will talk my way through this, but if you're brand new to the tool, there's a video uploading now for a new user's sort of walkthrough of CC3 Plus, and I'd recommend you start with that first. But anyway, let's jump in. Now, I'm going to make probably a little mountain village. So just to give you an idea of how my brain generally thinks as I start with mountains. So I'm going to start with this mountain here. On the left hand side here we've got all the different mountain symbols that I can pick from. If you right click on any one of these, it's going to open up a whole window, making it easier for you to pick. You'll see some of them have little plus signs next to them. This means there's a series of mountains in that collection. So what I mean by that is when I've got the mountain up, I can press Tab and it will go through the series of mountains, and if you click, generally, so I'm pressing Tab at the moment here, but sometimes it'll randomly change itself as well. Just delete that. Alright, so let's have a look at that again. There's another thing I'd like to really point out here. You'll see some of these have colours. Alright, notice how I've got my colour selection panel down here, and if I pick a different colour, some of these change colours. This can be really handy if you want to set like a specific sort of feel for your mountain ranges, then you can absolutely do so. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to use the basic version. What are we going to do? They're kind of all snow peak. I'm actually going to use the Great Peaks. Now we're going to start on the top left. Probably need to use something a bit of a... I'm actually going to just Control Z that. I'm going to put this in the background. I'm going to put this across the top. Alright, so I've got that in the background section there, and then I'm going to build on top of that. So I'm going to then move forward. Just constantly overlaying it a bit. Alright, that just gives the effect that there's a mountain range behind, and it's quite a big one. Now I press Tab here to change my symbol. I'll go for something smaller, and then we'll filter it out. Now, I'm really not thinking that much about this, guys. I'm just doing for the purpose of the video. But as you can see, I'm just clicking on something and then basically left clicking to put it down. And it can be quite easy to obviously do that. You can press tab to change into a different style. Alright, actually I'm going to Control Z that, and I'm going to put that one there. I kind of like the idea of having something a bit smaller there actually. There we go. Press my redraw button just to make sure it all redraws. Alright, now I've got my mountain ranges in here. Now I'm probably going to put some water in, so I'll use the river tool. Now right click on that will bring me up the different river tools that are available. I've got a standard river, but I like the curved ones personally, so I'm going to use that. I'm just going to have a bit of a river in here. So I'm just left clicking and then right click. Now you can see I actually tried to go off the side of the map there and actually kind of stuff that up. So there we go. Now you see the size of the river is actually quite small. That's because my mountains, I increased the size of them manually when I was messing around at the start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the advanced tab here. I've got the river default. Yep, that's the river default. I'm going to click new. River fat. There's my river fat settings. Fraction of the border. So what if we go... You see that will make it a bit wider. So I'll use the delete. I'm going to click on the river. You see it did select there. Then right click, do it. Gets rid of it. Right click, do it really sort of threw me when I first started using this tool. I'll use my new river fat. Click, 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 left click. Alright, now made it obviously wider. Now, you'll notice there that I drew over the mountain, but the river still went underneath. Why did that happen? So if we have a look at the sheets, and it's important that we understand this, the river will be on the river sheet. The mountains will be on the mountain sheet. Map border is always on top of everything, so river is on top of mountain. That's what's happening there. Actually, that doesn't make any sense at all because that's not how it should be, but let's have a look. I'm going to do it. This should be a river. Alright, and then we're going to have a look at this one here. Now, for the purposes of this, I'm actually going to show you a good help. So I'm going to go to the Pro Fantasy website. I'm going to go to the forums. And in here, there's always a really handy series called the Command of the Week. I'm going to click on that. Now, there's a series of tutorials here that are very handy, and the one I'm looking for is list. And this is an advanced feature that I've not played around with a lot, which is why I'm looking up how to do it. And I can see here it's teaching me how to use the command line list. So I've read the instruction before. Command line's down the bottom left here. I'm going to type list. I press enter, and it's asking me to pick an entity. I'm going to pick the mountain, and then right click, do it. And I can see that mountain is on symbols. So, this is the mountain one. River is on river. Alright, which is why the mountain is still coming on top of the river. So that actually worked out perfectly. If the mountain had been on any of the terrain stuff, the river would have ended up on top, which wouldn't have been as cool. But anyway, we've got one river in there. We probably need at least another few. There's a river Nazis everywhere in the cartography world, and haven't quite become one, but I'm starting to understand why people do it. Yeah, there's certainly realistic rivers and non-realistic rivers, and I've yet to master it. Alright, but basically I'm just creating some very basic rivers just to sort of give the impression that there's water flow. Cool. Alright, so we've done our mountains, we've done our rivers. Next I would generally move on to trees. And let's have a look. I'm feeling pine foresty. We've got some pine trees. Now I'm going to have to go a fair bit smaller. Always start at the top and move down. Alright, and that's simply because, and if we do a bad example, if I do this one here and then do this one here, those trees will be on top of that tree, which is not ideal. Now, there's a good lesson here. If we go down to the command and type symsort, so SYMSORT, and press enter, it says select entities, and I can click, move my mouse, then click. Oh, I've actually got the mountains. I just want the trees. I'm actually going to cancel this now. I'm going to right click and go cancel. I'm going to refresh the draw. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go symsort. I'm just going to grab these ones here. Alright, I've picked my two trees. I'm going to right click and go do it. Alright, and you can see that basically updated so that the trees are in the right order. So the top trees are behind the other ones. So if you ever do mess up like this, it is possible to come back and do this. I just did it again. Alright, but generally you should always start at the top and work your way down. Just randomly clicking at this stage, putting some trees in. Alright, let's put a village in. Put a little village. Just going to right click on that selection there so we can put in a hedgestone, because everyone loves a hedgestone. Bit of an adventure place for the party to go. Would there be bridges? No, probably not, but for the purposes of testing out some of the different symbols, let's put one in anyway. Then we'll have a bit of a Euro town here. Let's make sure we get the size about right. This town's actually going to be a bit bigger. Alright, again, I'm just left clicking here. I'm not doing anything special. Putting a few different features in. I could put a crack in the earth. Probably doesn't look that good, but quite like that with the brown actually, so I'm going to delete that other one. So right click do it once you've actually picked something to be deleted. And to make that terrain look a bit better, I'm going to use a desert fill around it. And this can be a bit of a wasteland. Hide a little camel there just for the sake of putting something fun in. Put an oasis. Probably wouldn't realistically be there, but you get what I mean. Alright, so as you can see, I'm putting this together pretty quickly. I'm not doing anything really special, apart from doing some clicking. Put that in the middle there. Volcano would be nice. go. So maybe the town's under attack by the volcano. Got a bit of a story arc going on. Probably need some more trees. Again, we're just gonna click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. Everyone says campaign cartography is really hard to use, but yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing right now. It's pretty simple. We'll have a look at the different sort of styles we've got. What have we got? Bit of a marsh, I don't know, just for the sake of messing with a different fill style. Alright, there we go. That's enough for the purposes of a demonstration. We didn't do anything seriously difficult with this. We literally just clicked on symbols and put them down, and clicked on tools and followed the instructions that the command prompt provides to create it. And yet, you know, in a short period of time, and didn't take long at all, we've got an okay looking map. It's certainly not great, and there's certainly some elements about it that there's probably hardcore cartographers going, yeah, you can't do that. I just did. But, you know, for the purposes of creating your land for your RPG world, or maybe your map for your book, you know, it's up to your imagination the way you do things, and you don't need to follow the rules of physics all the time. That's up to the individual. So hopefully, you know, you can see just by looking at this that it is not really that difficult. I'll put a little road from one to the other. I was actually doing that with sheet effects on, by the way, so just to show you what it looks like with sheet effects off. That's what it looks like with off, and then sheet effects on looks like that. So it just makes things sort of, you know, take on their sheet effects and look a little bit more professional. But yeah, that's how to create a basic map in CC3 Plus with really very little skill. Didn't take much at all. There are some things that you might want to mess around with, like let's say you weren't happy with the positioning of something. You could perhaps use the move tool, click on a symbol, right click, do it, and move it. We'll refresh it to get rid of the white box that didn't redraw. You know, that's pretty easy. The delete is obviously another easy one. You just click it and click a symbol and click do it. Or you can click it and you can go click, drag, click, and you can get rid of a whole section. Probably didn't want to do that far, but you get the point. Alright, it's possible. You have to be a little bit careful. That section just really wasn't doing it for me. There are other tools that you can use. So for example, if I wanted to just do all the trees at one section, I could use a tool tree. And that lets me do this sort of thing, where I can actually left click, create the symbol, then right click at the end. And when it refreshes, it just comes in and creates a whole forest. Now, when I first started this map, just for the purpose of speeding up, I increased the size of all the symbols manually. Now I did that using the control key. Alright, so if I got a symbol out, I press hold control and move my mouse up and down, I can change the size. So probably not the best way to do things, but yeah, it's just for the purpose of testing, so why not. Now you can see here that tool specifically actually puts down lots and lots of different trees. And there's probably a way to resize them. Just, you know, for the purposes of this video, we won't go through that. So yes, one other thing we could do is we can put some text on. So over here we've got our A signal for text. Well, this is Bob's Town. Alright, that's Bob's Town. This is Aaron's Village. Alright, you might not like the effect that's on those, so you can go up here to the sheets section, and you can have a look at text, and you can have a look at the actual glow, and you can edit it. Alright, so you might decide that we want to change the color a little bit. Maybe it needs a better glow. There we go. Not a great color, but you know, I'm here to teach you how to do something, not to make it look perfect. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's then run that through how I would extract that to use it. We'll go up here to File and go Save As. Alright, and we're going to drop this section here down, and there's rectangle, rectangular section, and then there is another rectangular. I think it's just PNG. If you use the PNG, there's an option to restrict. There you go, restrict image to map border. So we'll do that. We'll go on CC3+, we'll go save. That runs the export. Just let that go. The bigger the map, the longer it takes. That's a natural. And then boom, we've got an export. Got a village that I could load into whatever tool I wanted and share with my players. It's just a PNG file, so you can do whatever you like with it. Let's say you need a grid over that. How would we do that? We go Tools, no Draw, Hex or Square Overlay Grid. I'm going to do a Hex Grid. There we go. Now we have a Hex Grid. So there we go, guys. There's not much to it. It's something that the more time you put into it, the better looking your maps can be. You can whip something up like this very quickly. You can put a hell of a lot of time into it and make something that is absolutely professional level mapping. It's really up to the individual, and you can put the extra time in to learn how to do some really advanced stuff, like we use some commands in this, for example. The more commands you know, the easier your life gets, or you just do it the old manual way. So yeah, CC3+, it's not as hard as people say. I find it quite an enjoyable tool to use, and hopefully you agree with me. So that's been Let's Make an Overland Map. I hope that's been educational, hope that's been enjoyable, and if there's more videos you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. If these videos are useful, please do subscribe to my channel, that way you'll get notifications when I put out new ones. And yeah, apart from that, guys, have a great weekend, have a great week, and I will speak to you online. Ciao.